Insects attractants. Chemicals that cause insects to make oriented movements towards their source are called insect attractants. Insect attractants have played and will continue to play an important part in the management of insect pests. Owing to dependency of insects on attractants for the guidance on their food supply, opposite sex host plant and the site for egg deposition, attractants have been found very effective. An attractant or lure is a substance which is capable of eliciting a positive response in insects either by its vapor on reaching the olfactory or other receptors of insects or by any other factors. An attractant can be used for insect control by mixing the insecticides with it and luring the insects to feed on it. An attractant influences insects from distance and therefore volatile in nature. Besides chemicals, certain wavelength of sound and light and colors also attract the insects. Sound waves in the range of 430 to 540 vibrations per second attract male mosquitoes. Yellow trap attracts Japanese beetle. The male Cercopia moths are attracted by the otters from the unfertilized females. How to use insect attractants? Attract and protect. Occasionally, pest populations are low enough that they can be controlled using traps. Attractants can be used to effectively cull pest traps for control via mass trapping strategy. Attract and enhance. Natural pest attractants can help or protect crops by calling on beneficial insects to do the work nature intended. So they attract honeybees and they will pollinate plants and encourage fruit production, attract natural predators such as ladybugs and lacewings, and they can attack the pests causing damage to your plants. Attract and enhance, attract and protect. These two methods are used. So types of attractants: pheromones, chemicals that are secreted into the external environment by an animal and that elicit a specific response in a receiving individual of the same species. Types of attractants: pheromones, chemicals that are secreted into the external environment by an animal and that elicit a specific response in a receiving individual of the same species. Food lures: these are chemicals present in plant and animal hosts that attract or lure insects for feeding. They stimulate olfactory receptors. Then oviposition lures: these are chemicals that govern the selection of suitable sites for oviposition by the adult female. Corn attractants for H. armigera. Poison baits. Poison baits are a mixture of food lures and insecticides. Their food is made to make the bait more attractive to insects than their natural food, and also a smaller quantity should be able to attract the largest number of insects. Sex lures. The sex attractants are natural or synthetic utilized for eliciting a specific behavior in insects. Certain male insects assume the mating position and attempt to copulate in response to sex attractants. The female in some insects emits substance to attract the males. Uses of attractants for survey. Surveying is an essential aspect of insect eradication programs. Attractants help in detection of insect infestation and injurious insect can be identified. For research, estimation and sampling of population may be made with the aid of attractants, as many data on flight habitats, ecology and longevity may be collected by using attractants to trap marked insects. For insect control, attractants is very good source for controlling the insects. The attack of insects from the host plant may be diverted to other plants or less important by making them attractive by the application of lure. The greatest advantage and use of an attractant is its aids in controlling only the desired injurious insects out of several, causing no harm to beneficial insects. Disruption of mating occurrence which helps in insect control. In the method, sex attractants are released in sufficient concentration into the atmosphere. Smell of the scent is spread all over and males find themselves unable to locate the female. Properties of attractants: response of sex. The attractants are responded by different sexes in different manner, usually the male response. Then toxic effects. Their substance may have both attractive and toxic to insects. Often natural synthetic attractants are toxic. Then synergistic in action. The degree of effectiveness or attractants of two chemicals may exceed in combining them as compared to their individual attractiveness. Then specificity. Usually the lures are attractive to a single or a few closely related species. Effect of concentration. The efficiency of attractants varies with the concentration. A lure may be attractive at one concentration and may altogether act as a repellent at another concentration. Pheromones, so-called ectohormones. Ectohormones, it is a chemical or mixture of chemical released by an organism to outside environment that cause specific reaction in a receiving organism in some species. Skolson and Efficient coined the term pheromone 1959. So volatile in nature, serving as chemical means of communication. Semiochemicals, pheromones, primer, sexual maturation, development, physiological state, releaser, sex aggregation, alarm, trial, pediatric, terrestrial. Allelochemicals, aponeumone, chiromone, allomone, cinnamon. Semiochemicals, pheromones, alarm, trial, sexual aggression. Allelochemicals, allomones, advantage for sender. Chiromones, advantage for receiver. Cinnamones, advantage for both parties. Aponeumons from non-living sources. So chiromones, like some plants, when they have produced ripened fruits, they emit a beautiful odor. So it can be one way it can be termed as chiromones, and in other ways it can be called as cinnamones because these insects help in the dispersion of seeds in some cases. Okay, and alamones, some insects emit some pheromones which are acting as a repellent, so it just helps them to stay away from a predator. So this advantages for scent. Pheromone, primer pheromones. A chain of physiological changes is triggered off in the receiving animal. They act as respiratory receptors, caste determination and reproduction, social insect. Release of pheromone. An immediate and reversible behavioral changes produced in the receiving animal. Sex pheromone, aggregation pheromone, trail pheromone. Releaser pheromone. Sex pheromones in insect pest management, monitoring of insect pests, estimating population and detecting early stages of pests. 4. Pheromone traps per acre is recommended. Mass trapping, male annihilation technique to capture male moths of newly emerged and reduce the number of males for mating. Mating disruption by higher concentration of the pheromone, the opposite sex is rendered confused and unable to locate their mates. Merits specific, safe to natural enemies, small doses required, economic and compatible for IPM. Demerits available only for a very few species, replacement of lures, then pest specific. Aggregation pheromones. Pheromones released by one sex, only insect responds in both sexes of a species. In scolitid or bark beetles, the male secrete the pheromones into the hind gut, which gets incorporated into the facial pellets and through them attract flying males and females towards the galleries. In Trichoderma granuaria, mixture of fatty acid esters and methyl acid olerate. Trial marking pheromone at low concentrations, mostly used before aging ants and white ants. In ants, Formica rupa, formic acid, while termites, Zooterpsis nevadensis, it is hexanic acid. Alarm pheromone secreted by mandibular glands, sting apparatus, anal glands, and which result in fight or aggression. Then dilacoderine ants release a fruity odor by the worker that result in erratic behavior of workers. Different pheromone traps: delta trap, parasitic moth trap, funnel trap. Pheromone lure trap. Delta trap, plastic moth trap, funnel trap, nomade trap. Sex pheromone trap to protect and trap to detect and destroy cotton ball worms. Sex pheromones released by one sex only triggers off a series of behavior patterns in the other sex and thus facilitate mating. Then, in certain species, males are known to produce a sex pheromone, cotton ball weevil, Anthnomus grandis. The males responding only to specific pheromones of the female of some same species. Their reactions are directed towards the air currents carrying the order. Time of release by the female and response by male appear to be specific to each species. The following sex pheromones have been isolated and identified: bombicol, silkworm, Bombyx mori, lichilure, tobacco cutworm, Halure. Advantages: minute quantity required, non-pollutant and ecologically acceptable, species-specific, labor-saving, monitoring insect population, mass trapping of insects from breeding and feeding, potential disruption and mating in insect population. Used effectively only at low population density, pheromones of all pests to be investigated with greater efforts. New trapping system need to ensure lure longevity and trap efficiency. Food loss, natural food loss, chemical present in plant and animals hosts that attract or lure insects for feeding. They stimulate olfactory receptors and maybe a floral scent in case of nectar feeding insects, essential oils for the phytophagous insects, decomposing products for the scavenger, carbon dioxide, lactic acid, or water for the blood sucking insects. Food based baits are an effective and selective method of insect control. Typically, bait consists of a base material called a carrier, often grain or animal protein, and plus a toxicant. Most often insecticides such as organophosphates, carbamates or pyrethroids, and sometimes an additive, usually oil, sugar or water, to increase attractiveness. The toxicant part of a bait can also be biological rather than chemical. Examples of biological toxicants are Bacillus thuringiensis, parasitic nematodes, and fungi. The insect is not attracted to the base material but finds it palatable and will eat it when encountered. Therefore, baits are distributed by either ground or aerial broadcast application in order to ensure broad dispersion. Toxic baits are often environmentally friendly, inexpensive methods of insect control. Poison baits. Mixture of food lures and insecticides, more attractive to insects than their natural food, and also a smaller quantity attract a large number of insects. Baits are used when for some reason spraying or dusting of insecticides is not practical. So moistened bran base, molasses, insecticides for biting insects. Then phosphorus, sweet syrup for cockroach. Then metaldehyde for gardens, snails and slugs. Oviposition lures, chemicals that govern the selection of suitable sites for oviposition by the adult female, like p-methyl acetophenone attracts adult female rice stem borers to oviposit. Advantages of attractants: they do not kill the insect and therefore do not disturb the ecosystem or food chain. They are specific and safe to non target organisms. They can be used for mass trapping. Disadvantages: they cannot be used as sole control measure and can only be used as a compound in IPM. Thank you for listening.